Welcome back. Let's just dive right into this explainer, shall we? Today, we're building your definitive QA toolkit. And look, if you're in quality assurance, you already feel it. The ground beneath our feet is shifting fast. We're going to break down exactly what it takes to be a top-tier QA engineer in 2026. We'll cover the whole shebang, from the must-have programming languages to the specific software platforms that are absolutely dominating the industry right now. So I want to kick things off by asking you a direct question. And honestly, take a second to really think about this. Are your QA skills truly ready for the demands of 2026? Because, man, the risk of skill stagnation is so incredibly real. The adversaries we face every single day, those gnarly edge cases, the deeply embedded system bugs, the massive scale of modern software architecture, they're getting smarter, a lot smarter. Simply writing manual checks or relying on some basic scripts, yeah, that just isn't going to cut it anymore. And here's the biggest overarching problem we're dealing with. The tools change, the languages update, and architectures evolve at a breakneck pace. If you aren't adopting a continuous learning mindset, your old skills are just going to fall right through the net. As our source material points out, treating learning as an ongoing daily habit is literally the absolute foundation of your career safety. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll hit 4 key areas. First, the modern QA mindset. Next, technical foundations in programming. Then we'll look at the 2026 testing tool build, and we'll wrap it all up with best practices in action. All right, part 1, the modern QA mindset, building the base. Let's look at how this mindset shift creates the bedrock for everything else we're going to do as QA heroes in 2026. You know, the mental shift required right now is absolutely massive. The legacy tester mindset was, well, it was purely reactive, right? Just find the bugs, log them, and move on. But the 2026 QA mindset, it demands ownership, adaptability, critical thinking, and killer communication. You're no longer just the person looking for broken stuff at the end of the assembly line. You're taking active ownership of the product's integrity. You're using critical thinking to bake quality in right from the start, from the very first design phase. So the crucial takeaway here is that your soft skills, especially your communication and adaptability, are the actual bedrock that your technical skills stand on. Owning the quality narrative means you are the ultimate advocate for the user. It means you can look a developer in the eye and clearly explain why a bug matters, not just that it exists. Honestly, if you can't communicate the business value or the real-world impact of a failure, your technical findings kind of lose all their weight. Moving right along to Section 2, Technical Foundations and Programming, the framework. Now that our mindset is locked in on ownership, let's build out the technical architecture you need to actually speak the language of 2026. Now, these aren't just trendy buzzwords to slap on a resume. SQL data querying, API integration, system architecture, along with Java, Python, and JavaScript, these are your essential weapons. Sure, Java, Python, and JS are what you'll use to write the automation scripts, but the real magic, that happens with the top 3. To actually be effective in 2026, you absolutely must understand how an SQL query maps to an API integration and how that API fits into the broader system architecture. It's like a giant puzzle. You have to see the whole board, not just the single line of code right in front of you. You see, knowing how to code in Python or write a clever SQL query is fantastic, but having comprehensive testing knowledge is what actually proves the quality of the product. And by testing knowledge, I mean deeply understanding testing types, test design, and quality metrics to validate these incredibly complex systems. It's knowing the vital difference between an integration test and an end-to-end test. It's understanding how to sniff out those weird edge cases and knowing exactly which metrics to show your stakeholders to prove the system is healthy. Code builds the product, but metrics prove the quality. I just love this thought. It perfectly captures the dynamic between dev and QA. It's a great reminder that programming languages are just tools to build something, but your testing knowledge, your test design, your metrics, that is the overarching strategy that proves the house isn't going to collapse. You've got to have those metrics to back up the quality narrative you're owning. All right, let's jump into Section 3, the 2026 testing tool belt, testing platforms. Let's take those foundational coding skills we just talked about and apply them to the specific software platforms that are defining the modern landscape. In the modern workflow, there's really no room for ambiguity. You aren't just using Selenium for basic UI checks anymore, you're automating UI testing at scale. You're deploying Postman to dig deep into API testing and integration. You're relying on TestRail for rigorous test management and design, and using Jira for issue tracking and resolution. Every single tool in this belt has a specific, highly integrated job. But here is the absolutely crucial point to remember before we look at how this all comes together. Mastering the tool is great, but you have to understand the architecture behind it. These platforms are essentially useless if you don't grasp the systems they're operating in. Look, knowing which buttons to click in Postman doesn't make you a great QA engineer. Knowing why that API is structured the way it is and exactly what data it's pulling from the SQL database, that is what makes you completely invaluable to your team. And that brings us to our final section, Part 4. Best practices in action, the application. Let's tie this whole toolkit together and see what this progressive buildup looks like in a concrete step-by-step scenario. Okay, so here's your 2026 workflow in action. Step 1, you hold your horses. Don't write a single line of code until you design the test using metrics and establish exactly what proves quality. Step 2, you apply that technical foundation by using Postman to automate the API testing. Step 3, when things inevitably break, use Jira to meticulously track those edge cases and bugs. And finally, Step 4, you use that modern QA mindset, your communication skills, to loop in the dev team and clearly explain the business impact. That is the full cycle right there. But I want to give you a massive warning here, because this is a trap we see constantly. Do not automate a bad test design. Seriously. Speeding up a flawed process with Python or Selenium just means you're generating garbage results at lightning speed. You have got to get the design right first, or the whole thing falls apart. As we start to wrap up this explainer, I really want you to internalize this idea. Automation speeds up the process, but critical thinking points it in the right direction. Yes, automation is a huge part of the 2026 tool belt. It's incredibly fast. But your human element, your critical thinking, your ownership of the narrative, your deep understanding of system architecture, that's the steering wheel. Without you, the tools are just spinning their tires in the mud. So the tech field is moving incredibly fast, right? If AI can eventually just write the automation scripts for us, what is your role going to be in 2026? The answer lies in that human critical thinking and architectural mastery we just talked about. So here's my final question for you. Will you upgrade your toolkit, or are you going to let your skills stagnate? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get a discussion going. Oh, and don't forget to download the reference guide to help you out. Thanks for diving into this explainer with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.